my passion is. But if we can start to talk to them about what interests them and get them to engage in our curriculum in ways that explore that, then we're making a much better set that you don't just get a degree and it comes with an outcome. You actually have to work for that over a 4-year period. And so we're launching now, we kept that going through this entire pandemic. We're launching this year a program called Ascend, with the idea that there are lots of hills to climb at Colgate, and this is another one. And that is to sort of figure out what it is about you that you have in terms of talent to give the world. And through a series of micro internships and summer internships and all sorts of exploration with our curriculum and field experiences and study abroad, we put that together in a package and teach you how to talk about that. And we help you understand that failure is a part of that learning. So you take an internship and it doesn't go the way you wanted, and that, in fact, is learning and getting students to understand that. So Ascend is launched this fall with a series of modules and ways in which we can engage. And then one more thing, and this is important and brings us back to the curriculum. The core curriculum, which is reviewed every 10 years, is right now in proposal format and has a living learning workshop that will ride alongside of the first-year seminar. And if that happens, starting next fall, all first-year students will have a workshop that actually rides alongside the FSIM to start to talk about these life skills development and explore those in a sort of in a classroom setting in ways that will actually, again, inform the career preparation process.
All right.
So Colgate was the first school in the state of New York to be carbon neutral. And we all know sustainability is really important to many of the students. So can you touch upon lessons learned in executing the bicentennial plan for a sustainable and carbon neutral campus, and discuss how Colgate plans to continue to advance?
Yeah, no, students this day and our faculty are deeply committed to sustainability. It is infiltrating in wonderful ways. So many, I'm looking at Ellen, so many parts of our curriculum. You think it's environmental sciences, but it's moved into history, it's moved into ethics, it's moved everywhere. But so intellectually, it's important to our students, and they are fully aware that the world they're going into, they better know these issues. But Colgate had committed actually 5 years before the bicentennial to be carbon neutral. Most people don't realize this, but we get a lot of our energy from a wood chipping plant. I mean, it's very, people don't know this. I wake up every morning, I chip some wood. It's part of the job, more wood. No, we get a very significant portion of our energy from fast-growing trees that are local that we chip, and it provides our energy, and that is a big plus for us. The other things that we did were just looking at travel, looking at our shuttle system. People who know me know that I love trees, but all the new trees that you see, those are all carbon offsets. So we achieved this at our bicentennial. Now, I'll be the first to admit that we're not fully there in this sense. We are carbon neutral in that from a worldwide perspective, we offset the carbon we produce. But we do it, we purchased carbon offset rights in Patagonia and other places. You can get offset credits if you take lands in Patagonia, other parts of South America, and now in the American West, we're a little more local, that we say we will hold on to the development rights so no one develops this. So we are still using an offset system that's not local. We're trying to bring that more locally. Are there local institutions that we can support who are doing carbon offset activities that we can support in central New York? That's the next phase we're doing. But we don't really talk about in the third century plan, but the increase of the wood chipping capacity, the commitment that every building is LEED certified. Benton Hall, where Career Services is, that building is as tight as a drum. They always said you could light a candle and would eventually heat the entire building. It is so, it was our first LEED Gold building that we built for a while. So we're gonna do this. The next phase, and students are really interested, is the removal of single-use plastics. One thing that was really, really hard during the pandemic was the delivery of food really caused, we were producing a lot of waste, a lot of plastics. And you could say to yourself, this was an emergency, but that was a tough moment for the campus to feel. This is one of the reasons why the second semester we moved to a tightly scheduled, students could go to the dining halls to get food. First of all, they got to get the portions they wanted, but also it really dramatically dropped the waste, and that was one of the reasons why we did it. But it's kind of great to be carbon neutral. I mean, it feels good. I'm like really awful to my fellow college presidents who aren't. I'm that guy.
No?
Yeah.
No, it's good.
Hey, yeah, step up.
Right. So I want to talk about your house for a minute. So your house has always been sort of on the fringes of campus near Andrews and Stillman, but now there are dorms right there. What's it like for you to live more among the students?
Delightful. It's just, they're studying too much, so I go down, I'm like, guys, put some music on. You're studying too much. Have some fun. No, it's really funny. When I first got here, I thought I was going to live on Broad Street, where Paul McLaughlin lives. I thought, I need to be where people are. And for a whole host of reasons, I ended up back up on Robb House, which is up on the hill. And then, yes, the first thing I did was I built 2 dorms that go near me. And I really thought I had nailed it, but the other day someone goes, we saw you were watching the Squid Game. And I'm like, oh my God. I was, and it was violent, and I didn't sleep, and I don't understand the plot. No, it's actually, I can hear them in the quad. My study sort of faces Burke, Pynchon, and Stillman and Andrews, and I can hear them, and I can't tell you what a delight that is to hear them. There was Paul, close your ears. Last year, I woke up like 2 a.m, and I could hear a lot of kids, and they were like really close to the house. They learned they could gather outdoors, and they enthusiastically embraced that. And so a whole lot of kids were right outside the house, and I walked out, and I was like, give me another 100 feet. Like make it so it's not. And I remember this one student goes, "You live here?" Yes. No, but it's delightful. I get to walk my dog every night, and when you walk in a dog, kids will tell you anything, and they'll tell you anything. They miss their dog, so it's great. Though there are times when you're just like, I need not to be seen. So every now and then the dog and I will just head to the woods. He's like, yay, we're going to the woods. So.
Well, when you're out walking Emrys, which I know many of the students do love to see your dog, what kinds of things are you hearing from students? What are they talking about? What do they care about when they run into you?
Last year when we got to the point where I could walk around, 90% of the comments were, please don't send us home. I mean, I cannot tell you how often they said, you're not going to send us home. And I'm like, I hope not. Just help us not send you home. So that was it. This year, the same thing. They were, worried. But this year's a little more of a normal rhythm. The first 2 to 3 weeks, it's all about food. 100%. The lines in Frank are too long. Mostly what they'll talk about their classes, but mostly they want to, they're very emotional encounters. They want to know that you care about them. If I had to think about what every encounter is, they want to be seen. You ask them, how are you doing? And then they're talking about the rhythms of the year. Again, the first 3 or 4 weeks, once they get past the food conversation, like, I love my courses, and they have this enthusiasm. Then they go through a phase of, oh wait, this is hard. Particularly the first years when they kind of hit that first rhythm, and they're managing the rhythms and how to manage it. So what you're telling them when you see them is, you have this, but they need to hear that, and so that's a cycle. And they were very excited that their families were coming. You should all know, even if they acted like they didn't care that you were coming, they were completely excited that you were coming. And then once we get through this, there'll be papers they'll enter paper season from now till Thanksgiving, so they'll tell me about their papers. And then it's finals. And finals are always so funny because they want to go home, but they don't want to go through finals. But they're talking about the rhythms of the year. And then they talk about dramas. There's always the drama of the day. Paul, you know, there's like, and I love this. This is, don't tell your kids this. They always go, do you know what the administration is doing? Like, I'm like, no. What are they doing? No, the administration is doing this. I'm like, I will have to talk to them. No,
Right.
all the time. Yeah. I'm like, what do you think I do all day? But they're cute, and the dog helps you. The dog helps you. And the other thing is, they break up with their boyfriends and girlfriends, and when you have to recognize in those moments, or a class is not going well, that this is a big deal for them. This is the biggest deal they've ever had, right? The first class that they're not doing well in. So I always say to myself, the worst thing for me to do would be like, you'll get through it, it's fine. You have to say to them, you have to understand how important these crises are. And Paul, you know this. When the first time, I bring this up because a sophomore woman who I really like broke up with her boyfriend. I'm thinking, this is the most important thing that's happened to her. Like, and that's what's happening to her. And you want to say, he wasn't good for you. I know him, going nowhere. And there's a sophomore in West I really think you should date. No, you got to take it seriously, and it's lovely. It's completely lovely.
Do you have any advice from the perspective as a president of the university of how parents can support their kids for the rest of this year and going forward?
I would say I wouldn't underestimate the variability of this continuing pandemic. And I have to keep reminding myself, we're through this, and then I'm looking again at Paul. Then you find out we're not. And then the state of New York changes its rules, and then we have to change our rules. So they are shifting wildly between we're through this, and then you're not. So I would let them ride out, but I think that would be the thing. I don't know where this is going. I think we're through this, but I've been wrong every time. So I would say that. Just they're going through more than they might be letting you on to. I really feel that.
So you've been in higher education a long time and just celebrated your 5th year as president of Colgate. We would be interested to hear your perspective on today's college student, especially here at Colgate.
Let me start with today's college student. I just was on the phone. All the presidents of the private colleges, we get together on Zoom now, but the president of Hamilton, the president of Skidmore, and there's 6 of us at just 6 colleges, and we always share information at the president's level, the dean's level, the faculty level. And we're all experiencing the same thing, which is social media, anonymous posting, the destructive force of yik yak and anonymous posting. It is really, really, really hard on these students. And people always say, well, why can't Colgate stop this? We can't. A student is on a Verizon network, post something on an app, and we can't. So we tried before when it first came up, and I think, Ellen, you might remember this, the university had went to the Office of Civil Rights to try. So they are living in a world of social media where events go from 0 to a crisis in an hour. And what's happening to these students is a crisis emerges, students sort of proclaim sides. And if you're a student, you're supposed to declare that you're on a side. If you're not on a side, you must be on the other side. And I just watched them go from nothing to just full-blown local or national. So what we try to do, and we don't have the answer to this. And I think I look back at Ellen, you try to teach them you say, okay, there's this tool, this thing is in your life called anonymous posting on Yik Yak or Yodel or whatever's going to come out in 2 weeks. How do we teach them that to be in this world? And we have a group of faculty that are working together on creating what they're called speakeasies, where they have faculty that disagree on a topic and get in front of students and do it in Donovan's pub, do it in where they live, and just be like, here's two people who really, and they're not faking, they disagree about something fundamental. And can students watch them disagree? And then be cordial about it. If there's anything I think that combat what students are facing with just screaming at each other, is can we as an institution teach them how to talk to each other? And look, it's hard. I mean, our faculty sometimes really disagree. I'm looking at our dean of faculty. We're going through a curricular review, and nothing's more dramatic for a faculty. And they're not always perfect. But so if I look at our students today, they're living in a world of information, social media, and we have to train them for it. And we don't have the answer. We're figuring it out. But if you have answers, send me an email. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share with our families here today?
I can't tell you, and I'm looking at our administration here, how great it is to have you back. Like, emotional. No, campuses are places that people come and they learn, and and it's part of a community, and it was shut down, and we didn't see you, and now you're back, and that's awesome. So I'm gonna leave it at that. There we go. Thank you.
Thanks, President Casey. Thanks, Julie. And thanks to the entire cabinet and staff for helping us through the last year. It's a pretty exciting time at Colgate right now. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. There's lots of activities today for those who don't have the schedules. There's food trucks down on Whitnall Field. After this, there's a men's and women's hockey game. There's a men's soccer match today. So enjoy the weekend, enjoy your family, enjoy your students, and thank you, everyone, for making the trip. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. What'd you think?